coming out with two questions. The first one, last year, the opener, you had no idea what you had.
Yeah.
This year, you know what you got. How important is that?
Well, it is. I mean, the consistency and having some depth, I think that's the important part. I think last year was kind of like, hey, these are the guys that we're going to run with. And, you know, unfortunately, if there's a drop off from the first guy to the second guy, you got to kind of run the wheels off of the first guys. I don't think that's the case. I think, once again, through recruiting, we've added some depth. So you can literally go out there as a player and know you can push the gas 100% and let it all out there, knowing that there's somebody on the bench that's just as talented as you are. So that's a big piece of it. The uncertainties with the first game this year is more or less the personnel with Bethune. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you look at them on tape, and they've changed quite a bit too. They've done a really good job recruiting to get some portal needs in there, and I'm sure they developed those guys into their system. So that, it's not necessarily what you said about us. It's probably more about what we're going to see by them.
Coach, you just said what I wanted to ask with the second one. Last year, when you subbed, you dropped off. Now when you look at the bench, you're reloading, aren't you?
Yeah, well, you have guys that are very similar, and there might be a slight drop off, you know what I'm saying, just through experience. But, you know, the heart of any good program is through recruiting, and it's not necessarily like you get the one guy, it's just you're kind of judged when you're too deep. And if you're too deep, the first guy is like a good player, and then your second guy is kind of like a developmental guy, you're going to be in trouble. So the one thing about AG is he's constantly looking at the board. He's constantly looking at needs. Our people are constantly on the field evaluating, giving our input of where guys are at. So if we see gaps, whether it's through attrition, somebody leaves, or we just see gaps and this kid's a young player, you got an older guy, and what's the next move to bring somebody in, they've addressed that. And then from our standpoint as a coaching staff, we're cross-training a whole bunch of guys so you don't fall into that, well, who's the second guy? Well, he's just a puppy. He's going to go out there and make mistakes. Well, we want to train an older guy, get him over in that spot, so this way we can build depth there. But the recruiting piece was a huge deal for us in the last, 9 or 10 months.
Thanks, Coach.
Are the changes in
Coach, last year, going into the opener, you had no idea what you had. This year, you got a real good idea what you had. How important is that?
It feels a lot different. There's no doubt, and I think in my mind right now, we still have some guys that are going to go out there and haven't played maybe as much football as you would prefer. So there's still it's the first game. It doesn't matter if you return everybody, or if you return half your starters. Playing in a football game, in particular the first one, man, it's there's going to be nerves. There's going to be some of those things. And for me, it's about trying to get these guys going and get them off to a good start so they can get some confidence going, not overthinking anything, and get their cleats in the ground and get in the flow of the game, and then just go let them play. Because, you talk about a lot of guys coming back. There are enough guys that they know what the flow of the offense feels like when we're playing how we want to play, and that's what we want to get into as fast as we can.
You know what, Coach? Coach Golish has just preached here to us that the biggest thing is start fast and then keep your foot on the gas. How important is it to get that consistency and keep that consistency?
Yeah, it's everything. For us last year, we had numerous long drives where you're getting down there into the tight zone area, and you got to finish them. And it might be your 10 or more plays in that drive, and that'll be a big thing for us to finish those drives, starting this week, where last year we didn't do it at a high enough clip to be efficient as we needed to be, in that part of the field. So we can get going. I think like our offense, once it gets going, get a first down, whatever it is, big play, doesn't matter who's making it, whatever it is, but it creates its own energy and it creates its own juice within our offense. And our guys know, man, once we get going, we're going to try to roll and keep the defense on their heels and do what we do.
Coach, I want to steal one more. If Byron can set his feet and get through his second, maybe third progression, you're going to win a lot of football games. How important is those 5 guys up front to keep him upright?
That's the name of the game. Everything we do is the guys up front. That's kind of the heartbeat of your football team. So we're gonna go as they go, and it's not all gonna be perfect, we know that, but you're 100% right, man. If that is something that happens and that is true and that's the standard in our offense, we're setting our feet at quarterback and we're making good decisions, we're gonna be a good offense, there's no doubt.